Let's go see what they're talking about in here. Closed?
Yeah.
Really?
We closed for
When are you reopening?
coronavirus. We don't know when.
For the coronavirus?
Yeah.
It's forced?
Yes.
They're forcing you to close? Would you pass a law?
Well, the governor did, yeah.
What's the law?
It's a Shelter in Place Act executive order that he put into place.
Yeah.
All non-essential businesses have to be closed.
Or what happens?
What's that?
What happens if he refuses?
Well, if he refuses, they get charged with a crime, and eventually
What's the crime?
it's a misdemeanor.
What's the misdemeanor?
I don't understand why this has any business to do with
Well,
it.
you swore an oath to the United States Constitution, did you not?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, in the Constitution, does it say anything like you have the right to freedom of assembly, you have the right to freedom of movement unmolested?
It does say all of those things.
Okay, so when there's a flu, that means that there's no longer, you don't have constitutional rights?
Well, when the governor of Minnesota puts an order in place that
Then
says
the Constitution, he can just erase it?
he can enact state law, and we have to abide by state statutes.
Well, if state law is in contradiction to the United States Constitution, don't you think it's your responsibility to stand on the ground of the Constitution? Or would you just, okay, say they just passed a law, you can't fish no more, and then you're gonna go and enforce it?
That's my job, sir.
To enforce law that's unconstitutional.
Well, it's your opinion that it's unconstitutional.
What's your opinion? I'm asking you.
My opinion has nothing to do with this fact.
You don't have an opinion on it? You're here enforcing the law unconstitutionally. You don't have an opinion on it.
My opinion doesn't matter.
It does matter a lot to me. I live in this community.
I understand that.
Well, we hired you, right? I pay to hire you, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, my tax money. I go to work. I send in a check to the government.
Yep.
They hire you to enforce laws that I vote for people to write.
Yep.
So you work for me, and I'm asking your opinion. And what's the law say?
The law says it's an executive order that says all non-essential businesses.
What's an essential business?
Well, they've described it as convenience stores, gas stations, hardware stores. Things like there's a whole list of them. I can't remember all of them right off the top of my head. But we've been advised by the governor that tobacco shops, if they're tobacco only, are not allowed to be open for business.
And you think,
as well as all other businesses.
And you think that's in keeping with the Constitution?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's my job to enforce it.
Do you not understand how that's a problem? Like, that's what the people in Germany said in World War II. Well, I don't know if I agree with it, but I'm in the military, so put them in the carts. Do you understand the concept of what I'm saying?
Well, I do, but I don't understand how this business being closed.
Because I live in this community. I came here to use this business.
I understand that.
And how do you know that this guy didn't sink his life savings into this? Then they pass an unconstitutional law. They say, well, you got the right because there's a flu going around to just close everybody's problem. What if they pass a law tomorrow that says you got the right to search my house with no warrant, with no probable cause? You think you're going to come up in my house and just search? I don't think so. But that's what you're doing right here. You're shitting all over the Constitution that you swore an oath to protect. Do you not see how I would be offended by that? And I live in this community. It's not like I'm a stranger. I'm using this business. I live in this community. You work for me. How is this not my problem?
I don't understand what my opinion on the Constitution
Because
is.
you're enforcing an unconstitutional law right now.
My personal opinions have nothing to do with how I...
Well, if you think something's unconstitutional, is it your job to enforce the law, even if you think it's unconstitutional? You're not supposed to have an opinion on it?
I guess I don't necessarily believe that the governor's order is unconstitutional.
Okay, so your opinion...
We're not restricting the movement of anybody. We're not saying you can't go out in public. We're not saying you can't do this, you can't do that.
You're saying I can't enter this establishment.
We're trying to limit the exposure.
I get it, but you're saying by force, through threat of violence.
I'm not threatening.
You have a gun on your hip. All action by the United States government is in response to force. You're using force.
I'm not using any kind of force.
Okay, so what are you going to do if he doesn't agree with you?
Well, like I said,
It's a criminal offense, you said.
It is a criminal
Okay,
offense.
so what happens when you commit a criminal offense?
well, you get charged with a crime.
And what happens though?
You maybe assess a fine.
You get,
or you get a jail time.
yep, you get arrested. Is that not force? So you're
Under the
threat.
law of Minnesota,
Yeah,
you
you're
have
threatening
the
force.
if needed, yes.
Yeah, you're threatening force against a guy who's exercising his constitutional rights. And you're sitting here telling me that, and you're using the same. It's the same argument that they used in World War II. Well, I work for the military.
This isn't World War II. This is 2020.
Yeah, this is the precipitous. This is how it precipitates that type of
The
activity.
executive order was put in place by the governor of Minnesota to protect people.
And you think it's constitutional though?
I absolutely do. What's wrong with keeping people
What's
safe?
wrong with shutting a business down? Because of the flu?
Our opinions don't matter.
Apparently they don't. Apparently they don't. You don't care about the Constitution. They write a law, you enforce it. You don't even think twice about it. I get it. Makes
We all
sense.
vote for the same people.
Ignorance is bliss is what you're saying, right?
I'm not saying that at all.
See, we don't have the luxury of, we agree with things that we enforce and we don't agree with things we enforce, but we still have to enforce the law.
Yep, even if it's unconstitutional.
Okay, well that's not us for us to decide.
Exactly. You just enforce it. Whether or not you don't think about the constitutionality of what you're doing, even though when you took an oath, you didn't say, I take an oath to uphold all the state laws. That's all you took an oath to the United States Constitution, not the state laws. So you should know the Constitution supersedes any state law. And if one is in contradiction with the other, the Constitution prevails. So yeah, you are supposed to think about it. Is this law that I'm enforcing constitutional? Yes. Then go do what you're gonna do. I'm on public property. Kick rocks then, if you're gonna talk to me like that. You're the one sitting there saying, we're not gonna argue about this.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are you doing here?
I'm here to finish conducting my business with this gentleman. here
Okay, go ahead.
and explaining what is this order.
Okay, go ahead.
I want it to be fair for everybody. You know, for you, I know you're dealing with a lot of people that they're gonna be mad. I'm actually mad, but I'm not gonna be mad with you because when you're doing your job, I need to make money, make my living. I have family too. You know, they have family, we have family. We need to get paid to live.
Do you think this is right though, what they're doing?
I think it's right, to be honest, but I'm doing it because I have no power over.
That's the problem. We have no power. When tyranny comes to town, what do you do?
I'm not gonna go to jail.
Right.
And you know,
'Cause that's-
argue and lawyers
exactly.
over something. Maybe I am wrong. I'm not sure. If I knew what I'm talking about, I would have said in out loud, I'm not gonna do it. But like I said, because I don't know, I had you talk to my cousin, Maher, the owner. He is actually hiring the owners right now about it because there's a way to help customers without being like too close. And like I told you, I can help him without entering the store. I can do a delivery if I have to.
If we're allowed to, if you guys are more.
You'll notice these guys aren't at any mortgage companies. I still got my mortgage certificate. I still got to pay my mortgage. These guys aren't at the loan building saying, hey, you guys can't be doing this business right now. You guys got to shut it down. My loan still went through. My mortgage is still due. You still got loans due? Did they shut down? Did these guys show up at the place where you got your loans and say, hey, you guys can no longer operate your business because of the coronavirus? Because it's essential. Your loan building is essential. No, they didn't do that.
We didn't decide what was essential and what was not.
Who told you to come to this business?
What's that?
Who told you to come to this specific business?
We got a complaint.
From who?
That's none of your business, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll see about that.
Do you have any other questions with me right now? So now you have the hotline number, and I give that to him here, and I already kind of spoke with him. So if things change, or if you guys have any questions, all right, take care.
You guys got business cards? Thank you. Let's go, buddy.
My other store is still open.